Eng 24-hour gym sauna room promise on the guest pass. The gym at 2 a.m. behaves like a secular chapel. Treadmills sing to themselves, the vending machine glows with evangelical certainty, and the front desk clerk guards a kingdom of towels with the patience of a minor god. I signed the guest log with a pen that made me briefly honest and slid my phone face down into my left pocket, the pocket I use for things that are supposed to make it home. The overnight attendant buzzed me through. The turnstile accepted my ribs without complaint. I told myself I was here to run. Back home, Marco had said, "Can we talk tomorrow?" in the voice that means, "Please stay now." Our couch sits for the bar exam whenever we start a sentence with "I feel." I left before either of us started practicing openings. Halfway down the stairs, my screen lit with a message from P. Paolo in my contacts, P in the way I label hazards to make them smaller. Saunas empty. Just talk. Roofs forgive nobody in daylight. Steam pretends it will. By day, I fix other people's paragraphs. By night, I try not to turn my own into weapons. Marco and I keep a code that works when we remember it. T means come here, you awake. Means I'm scared. Tomorrow means not yet, but don't go far. Paolo drifted back into orbit 2 months ago wearing a tank that made bad decisions look like sportsmanship, and a laugh that sounded like a glass agreeing to be set down gently. He didn't ask for anything. That was how I started bringing him everything. I ran 2 miles because penance deserves cardio. The row of mirrors forgave me in high definition. The playlist apologized for nothing. When the treadmill surrendered me back to gravity, I walked down the corridor where the air gets complicated. The sauna door had a small fogged window. A red light above it pretended to be policy. I pushed through. Steam took my glasses and then most of my resolve. Benchwood breathed heat through the towel. Paolo sat on the top tier, forearms on his knees, a line of sweat carving obedience down his chest. He tilted his head the way he does when he's trying to remember not to be kind. "You came," he said. "Grown men insist on performing surprise." "I came to return something," I said. "My locker key, your good sense." "Your name," I said. "It's been on my mouth too long for its own health." He patted the space beside him and I climbed a step like a sentence choosing a verb. The steam turned skin into a secret. He held up a guest pass, paper backed in plastic, blank on the reverse, and a pen he must have stolen from the front desk. "3 words," he said. "Why are you here?" "3 words is cruel." "That's why they work." He set the pass on the bench between us, a small white dare sweating into relevance. I wrote proud at breakfast. Beneath it, smaller like a fuse I wasn't sure I could trust, touch before arguing. He read the ink as if it had temperature. He didn't touch me. His hand hovered a breath from my knee, permission auditioning as restraint, and fell away like we were already being graded. "Does he know?" Paolo asked. He didn't need to weaponize the pronoun. "He knows the apartment is quiet," I said. Steam negotiated with my chest. Heat tried to unionize my resolve. Paolo watched me like a man trained to accept confession in exchange for hydration. "Tell me no," he said softly, and made it sound like a virtue I could afford. I didn't. I met him in the inch that rewrites evenings. His mouth tasted like mint and the idea of citrus. When his hand found the back of my neck, his grip remembered humane limits. My body answered like a courtroom that wants the witness anyway. He made the sound men make when a small country surrenders and calls it diplomacy. I made the one I've learned to trust when it belongs to him. We didn't rush. Steam prefers precise heat. His mouth found the hinge of my jaw. Mine found the line below his ear where regret loses vocabulary. His palm slipped under the towel at my waist and rested flat a second. "Do you swear?" Then moved with attention rather than appetite. He guided my hand down with the steadiness of someone who respects tools. I closed my fingers and he exhaled into my mouth a truth nobody paid to hear. He reached for me and I let him. We stayed quiet because Cedar prefers prose. The room held our breath for us when ours got too busy. "We already cheated," he said when Air remembered citizenship. "We cheated when we started telling each other the truth before we told it at home." "I know," I said, and the bench did not split. The night did not ask for witnesses. He slid the guest pass into my left pocket with ceremonial slowness. His thumb traced my wrist once, choosing not to keep what he could have stolen. He leaned back, the pose of a man trying to pass inspection after building something slightly illegal. "I booked a room," he said, not triumphant. "Weather report, not prophecy. Refundable. We could stand at a window and not touch for 60 seconds just to prove we remember ceremony. We could keep the do not disturb honest." "I'm tired of being clever," I said. "Clever, a gym trick," he said. "Accurate belongs to breakfast." We sat until the red light above the door decided to be a clock. He kissed me again, brief, exact, something a water fountain could keep without lying to its logs. In the locker room, we pretended to be men who towel off accurately. At the front desk, he produced a novelty magnet from a bowl shaped like a dumbbell, ridiculous and perfect, and pressed it into my palm. "For your fridge," he said. "Cold helps letters behave." The night outside had decided on a reasonable humidity. The crosswalk gave me time, I took it. The apartment offered its square of kitchen light and the fridge's patient hum. Marco sat on the floor with his back against the door, sleeves pushed to his elbows, one ankle over the other, the posture manuals use when they draw people who are about to fix things. He didn't ask where I'd been. He tilted his head toward the space beside him. I sat. "Do you want to be asked?" he said, voice steady, not performing mercy, offering it. "Please," I said, because prompts are the scaffolding of my better self. "Are you lonely?" "Some nights," I said. "Not here. Not when you ask first. Not when the kettle outruns the reasons." I took his wrist and placed his hand on my forearm the way he does when he needs to make sure I'm not inventing weather. His thumb traced once and believed me. "I feel useful," he said. "I want to be wanted before I'm useful." "Tonight's procedure," I said. "Touch first, argue second, report later." The kettle clicked like a stamp in a country that still believes in mail. He stood and poured water over mint. We named it dinner because names are cheaper than regret. I pinned the guest pass beneath the dumbbell magnet so that Proud at Breakfast faced the room. Marco read the ink and his mouth did the smaller, braver thing. He took the dry erase marker from the cup by the fridge and wrote beneath the magnet, "Tomorrow, keep the torque." He didn't grin. He nodded like a man, assembling a morning from honest screws. We made a rule that isn't noble. When prosecution tries to wear a bathrobe, one of us says sauna and the other puts the kettle on while the first puts his hands where history can find them. We agree to 5 words when 5 are enough. We stop at the shoulder, not the ditch. We try to want what we promised, and when we don't, we write 3 words on small paper and tell the room we'll fail differently tomorrow. Days do what days do when you're trying to be an amateur human with professional consistency. The pass in my pocket learns the shape of my left hand. Paper learns its carriers. On the late bus, I draft messages to no one that begin I didn't ask, because I thought that counted as kindness and "and may your breakfast go right." I don't send them. The not sending feels like a skill borrowed from Steam that teaches men how to leave without cooling. A week later, afternoon tries to be a test. I walk by the gym and buy nothing. I leave a bottle of water by the front desk with a note, "For whoever is waiting for a sister." The attendant nods like a bridge that has held and will hold again. On my way home, I slip, A blank guest pass into my pocket and right turn toward your name across the clean side. I don't light anything. That night we eat toast like it has been newly invented. We fail and fail differently and fail in ways that don't require anyone to stand in cedar pretending to know which heat will save them. The room does not demand a verdict. The morning remembers its job. And when we say tomorrow out loud, it means only what we let it mean.